even Chris Christie, even though he seemed to be doing Pilates with his wrist.
Yeah, he was.
I like what he's saying, though. He's speaking out against
he's growing in support.
I mean, Democrats. I always had a problem with him. You know, I did a roast and he got mad at me one time, and you know, I said to him,
"What did you say?"
I said he wanted to run for president. And I said, "Listen, let me say something to you in terms you understand. You're toast."
That's not that bad.
That's not that bad.
That's a roast joke.
That's you going light.
You make fun of people about their looks and their weight.
You say more harsh things during our Hot Topics meeting.
Please, she says more harsh things to me as a hello.
As a friend.
What is this, a gangbang all of a sudden here?
Here's what I'll tell you. From March of 2024 to July, he is going to be on trial in 2 different trials in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So that's from Super Tuesday to the nominating convention in July.
Yeah.
I think it's like 95% chance, barring some major outside factor, he will be the GOP nominee. And we have to ask ourselves, is that what our country wants? A potentially convicted felon? The flip side, which I'd pose to you guys, why the hell is he head-to-head, neck and neck with Joe Biden? They're statistically tied right.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. So the hosts of The View are back in action, with the exception of Whoopi Goldberg, who unfortunately caught COVID. She actually zoomed into the show in a room all by herself, wearing a freaking mask. The ultimate virtue signal. It still exists. But anyway, interestingly, she got COVID around the same time that news broke that First Lady Jill Biden also tested positive for COVID, which, of course, it's got the White House and a lot of us completely freaking out that we're one mask away from a Kamala Harris presidency. Nobody wants that. Now, a lot of people are speculating that this might be the start of the Democratic Party trying to leverage the virus, the COVID situation, you know, to introduce some policies that might tilt the 2024 elections in their favor. If that happens, we're definitely going to have to change the name of the virus. I have a couple in my mind. Let me know what you think a good name for it would be. But anyway, guys, on a different note, so during The View's month-long break, you know, there was numerous videos and rumors circulating about the show being canceled or Whoopi getting fired. I did a few of them myself, and I'm sure it was just wishful thinking, really, in the long run. But unfortunately, Whoopi was not fired, and the show is still running. And as expected, the hosts have returned to their usual insane and completely unhinged rhetoric. And one topic that caught my attention was their insane perspective on recent natural disasters in the U.S. So hurricanes, the fires in Maui, the stuff going on in Burning Man. Of course, climate change is responsible for all of it, they say. And Republicans, of course, are responsible for all climate change. And of course, Donald Trump is responsible for them and it and all of it. And he's responsible for things that won't yet happen for a few generations, of course. And it's always a spectacle to see how these discussions unfold. Take a look at this.
This is one of the many tragedies this summer due to climate change. This is another one of those. They better deal with this. This is the number one existential problem in this.
It rained 3 months worth over 24 hours.
But when I hear Republicans say, "Oh, it's not man-made. It's not about fossil fuels," you know, when Trump was president, all of that went up. The fossil fuel usage went up.
And the regulations went down.
Planet. Please don't vote for him. I'm begging you. Get him out of here. He's so dangerous.
But I'm glad you mentioned that because
he's so dangerous.
It's, you know, it's important to keep mentioning and try to see how we help the Maui fires. How, you know, Hurricane Idalia in Florida.
That was a horrible
fires in Greece.
It's like a nuclear bomb hit that poor place.
Yes.
And then there were fires in Greece. There were fires in Italy. Phoenix had 116-degree temperature. Palm Springs must have been over 100.
Hurricane Idalia hitting the Big Bend in Florida.
The aquifers are drying up. If we don't have water, we can't exist. They have to stop denying and stop with the fossil fuels and whatever else is causing this. I'm begging you, don't vote for him. We'll be right back.
All right, so let's unpack this. So this is without a doubt the full effects of Trump derangement syndrome. You know, they all have it, especially when it comes to climate-related topics. You know, Vivek Ramaswamy, his commentary about the climate cult and the climate agenda feels more relevant every time you hear more of this stuff, and especially when you hear these women talking about this stuff. You know, natural disasters have happened long before we ever use fossil fuels, and they're going to happen long after this electric fantasy arrives, which by my math is probably about 200 years from now. But anyway, you know, anyone who even knows even a tiny bit about the topic knows that most of these people don't have a freaking clue what they're talking about. And even the ones that do, they oversimplify and exaggerate this stuff so bad to make their point. You know, things like saying that Trump and the Republicans are almost singularly responsible for the planet's downfall is obviously insane. It does not help their cause. You know, it's made even more insane by the fact that no one ever calls them on it. No one's man enough to step up and be like, hey, that sounds ridiculous. Anyway, so in this show, they must have been really storing this stuff up because they shift from climate change to politics and back and forth pretty quick. And most of them are completely terrified at a potential return of Trump in the next election. And the always in support of democracy and protecting our nation's, everything's, joyous and excellent about our nation. Joy Behar is, of course, one of the crazies on board with leveraging the 14th Amendment to keep Trump off the ballot.
We missed a lot this summer. People are writing on Facebook, when are you coming back? I'm sure you're missing everything. We want to hear what you have to say. So let's say what we have to say today.
Okay.
Trump had his 4th indictment.
Who's counting?
He was indicted by a grand jury along with 18 of his allies, including Rudy Giuliani and Mark Meadows.
Yeah.
Trying to overthrow the election in Georgia. So he's facing 91 felony charges.
Yes, he is.
4 indictments in various districts, an array of civil cases. He was twice impeached, as you always remind us. So is there anything that we can do to stop this guy from running? Because obviously he's a traitor. So why would he be running for president if he's a traitor?
That's the thing. You know, a lot of people are saying, well, 60% of the GOP is supporting him, of GOP voters. And so
I think it's more than that. Is
really?
Because
it's about 59%.
The Wall Street Journal today said 60%.
Oh.
But I think what's interesting is...
So there's 40% who haven't lost their mind.
About 40%, which is a good thing, right?
Well, wait a minute. That's if you consider supporting Ron DeSantis not losing your mind.
Oh, you mean the other 40 could be...
the bar is low.
I thought the alternative was Democrat.
So
don't get ahead of yourself.
There is a field. But what I want to say is, I think the larger question is, he's going to be convicted of something, right? I've said it all the time. Federal defendants get convicted like 97% of the time. In the Georgia case, he's on tape for one of the charges. So he's going to get convicted. The larger question is, why is he even allowed to run? And and I've said it over and over again. Now, there are these legal, and Alyssa and I were talking about it earlier, there are conservative legal minds and experts that are saying that under the 14th Amendment, he is not even allowed to run, even though he hasn't been convicted yet. Because the 14th Amendment says if you've participated in public office after taking an oath to this country in an insurrection, you're ineligible to run.
Okay.
And so you have 2 lawsuits now pending, I think one in New Hampshire and is it Florida. So I really think that this legal theory is something that we really need to concentrate on. Instead of concentrating so much about on the indictments, I mean, I'm very excited about them myself, but I definitely think 14th Amendment all the way and just prevent him from running.
To me, the question is not why he's allowed to run. To me, the question is how could possibly Republicans who call themselves the law and order party be supporting a person who has been now indicted in 4 different jurisdictions? I mean, that's just outrageous.
Here's what I'll tell you. From March of 2024 to July, he is going to be on trial in 2 different trials in Washington, D.C. So that's from Super Tuesday to the nominating convention in July. I think it's like 95% chance, barring some major outside factor, he will be the GOP nominee. And we have to ask ourselves, is that what our country wants, a potentially convicted felon? The flip side, which I'd pose to you guys, why the hell is he head-to-head, neck and neck with Joe Biden? They're statistically tied right now.
So yeah, that is complete and total insanity. You know, I'm sure glad that the show is still around because it really does let us know what these people are thinking. But it's not just them, it's people all over are speculating about the use of the 14th Amendment to prevent Trump from running for office again. And this to me is it's the left's most recent fantasy. They tried to destroy the guy, and he just keeps getting stronger. Impeachment 1, nothing. Another impeachment, worse. He's got stronger. Indictments 1, strong. Indictment 2, 3, 4, just won't go away. And now they're literally grasping at straws, and they're showing that they will literally destroy democracy, all while trying to convince you that they actually care about it and care to save it. Anyway, I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. That's just my take. Let me know in the comments what your take is. And if you haven't already, guys, please like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. We'll see you in the next one.